Hi, everyone. It's Michelle Mansfield with Michelle Mansfield Energize Your Life. And as promised, I have my little recap of the Hormone Reset Diet that I've recently completed from the wonderful Dr. Sarah Gottfried. Her book, The Hormone Reset Diet, can be found on Amazon or on her website. HormoneResetDiet.com, I believe, is the web site for her. She also has a wonderful book that I'm going to start reading called The Hormone Cure. So I'm really excited for that. Dr. Sarah is a Harvard educated medical doctor, OBGYN specifically, with great, fabulous credentials, including being a yoga instructor as well. So I love that she did. Blends the world of holistic medicine and the power of food and lifestyle choices along with the modern medical world. So I think we need to be more open-minded as medical professionals, as holistic health practitioners, of blending things when necessary and getting the biggest army behind you as possible. And I'll be looking down because I have my very used Hormone Reset Diet with notes and highlights, and it's been an interesting 21 days. And the reason why it is 21 days is because Dr. Sarah focuses on these 7 metabolic hormones, and her philosophy that it takes 3 days to reset each hormone. So 7 times 3 is 21. So you have increments of 3 days for each hormone, but you do continue that elimination to help that particular hormone throughout the entire 21 days. So for example, the first 3 days is meatless and no alcohol to help with estrogen. That's the hormone focus. You don't just go back to eating that after the 3 days. You continue that through with the thought of everything kind of building and working together throughout those 21 days. So the 7 metabolic hormones and the foods and lifestyle choices that affect them, we've got the first 3 days, like I said, is meatless and no alcohol, which I love my red wine every once in a while and my cocktail with my girlfriend. So that was definitely a challenge. I did have a day or two because it was my 40th birthday during this hormone reset. Great timing. That I did allow myself a glass. So I am going to actually be doing this again shortly and being very religious of, everything. But that was actually my only little downfall was, on my birthday night or weekend having, a couple drinks. That first 3 days, the hormone focus is estrogen. The next 3 days is sugar-free, so focusing on insulin, then fruitless. So again, the focus is the fructose, that sugar. So you are focusing more on leptin as well during that next increment. The fourth increment is caffeine-free. So focusing on cortisol. And then the next increment is grain-free to focus on the thyroid hormone. Then the next reset, number 6, is dairy-free to focus on growth hormone. And finally, the last reset, number 7, is toxin-free. So products, lotions, potions, water, you name it, that focuses on the world of testosterone. So 7 resets times 3 days each equals 21 days. And then after that 21 days, she does have a program of bringing things slowly back in one at a time, these foods and lifestyle choices, to see how your body feels with each one. She's not saying you need to bring them back permanently. If anything, it's all about paying attention to your body, which I stress as well throughout this whole thing. Really listening to your body. Every person is different. Everybody reacts differently to certain foods, and you need to pay attention and be mindful with how you are eating and what happens. I never knew, for example, that, how much gas and bloating and the brain fog I was having, how it kind of dissipated. And I even said to my husband one day, I thought it was the shakes I was doing in the morning. I would get these, not painful, but I would get a lot of gas in the afternoon, not to be too blunt about it. And through the night, where I'm like, I think it's my shakes and all the vegetables and things in it. And then when I took out grains for that reset, I looked at my husband after a few days and I said, have you noticed that I haven't been farting at all? Like I was, and he said, you know what, you're right. I'm like, it wasn't the shakes. I think it was the grains. So I'm going to be bringing back grains shortly to see if, but again, I do whole grains, but even as whole grains, it's very hard to digest. So after the 21 days, I did certain tests in the beginning and measurements. And then, and I'm looking at all of my results right now. So I tracked everything on a daily basis. The things that I tracked were my waist and hip measurements on day 1 as well as weekly, my BMI, my waist to height ratio, my basal metabolic rate, as well as I did a hormone test that she provides for you online that you can go to. I tracked my sleep. I tracked my blood pressure. I tracked my blood sugar. So I had to buy actually a little needle pricker and blood sugar monitor, which ended up being fine. At first I was kind of nervous to prick my finger every day, but it was very interesting because I do have very high blood sugar in the morning. She likes it to be around 85 or less, and I'm still, even with all the changes, at a over 90, sometimes up to 100 when I wake up in the morning, my fasting blood sugar level. So I'm getting things checked out with my doctor because of that, because it should be a lot lower, especially when I've made all these changes. Keeping track of my carbohydrates, which I will say I hate keeping track of food in the sense of grams and quantities. It's just too much for me on my daily basis. I know she tells us to do this for a reason, but she wants you to keep track of your net carbohydrates with every meal. I have people making me food as well as, I don't have the motivation for some reason to truly calculate, like, okay, I have a cup of spinach. I kind of just have always been eating, whatever amount of vegetables, because I've always been told and educated that it doesn't matter how many, vegetables. You can eat as much as you want. So that part I did find just a little bit difficult for me to do. So there is a calculation to find your net carbohydrates based on total carbohydrates of the food you're eating. Especially if I had like a salad that was made by, I have a vegan chef that I use. I can't like disassemble and take out, the beans and the tomatoes and and disassemble it and weigh everything. It's a little too challenging for me. But you take your total carbohydrates minus the fiber. So again, you're Googling like how much fiber is in a cup of spinach. And then you calculate, you minus that, and that is your net carbohydrate. So she wants you to stay around, let's see, she keeps total carbs at approximately 75 grams per day when you're trying to lose weight, and 100 to 150 grams per day when you're trying to maintain. So just increasing that fiber as much as you possibly can is going to help you. So focusing on that. And then your pH, which is measured in your urine, that's another measurement. And your body fat, which you can either get at your local gym, or I have a scale that you can buy on Amazon that, measures your body fat. So looking at my measurements from day 1 to day 23, pretty much, or no, day 22, sorry. I lost, the biggest loss for me was my waist. It was incredible. And I felt just leaner. Definitely. My hips, I didn't really lose that much, but I don't have much fat in there. When I'm measuring, it's bone. So getting that waist to hip ratio instead of like my pear shape that I was calculating at in the beginning, I have more of curves now. So I started out at 33 inches for my waist. I've always felt like I've been very straight and just no curves. And I went down to 29 inches, and I'm actually like 28 now. So I have, lost, 4 inches in my waist in, 21 days, which is huge. So my waist to hip ratio, went down from, 0.92, which is the apple shape, which is kind of a dangerous, zone in the sense of, waist to hip ratio, to 0.80. Weight wise, I lost a few pounds. I've always been at that 130 mark, it seems like, when I'm at my healthiest, and that's where I'm at right now. I haven't been exercising for the past couple months due to a surgery that I had. So when I do this again, I'd like to see if adding in the exercise component. I mean, I've been walking and stuff, but I haven't been exercising like I normally do. I'd like to see if that influences, the weight side of things. Not that I'm looking at losing weight. And then my hormone score from her online test went down dramatically, in the sense of, a lot of the symptoms that I was clicking yes to on day one, I don't have anymore, which is wonderful. My sleep has been amazing, which is so important when it comes to hormonal health and immunity, now that we're coming to cold and flu season, as my daughter gets a hand, foot, and mouth and strep notice from her school. Again, my blood pressure or my blood sugar, I'm just still concerned about. So I'm doing some follow-up work with an endocrinologist, actually. And working with my chiropractor, who's also has a naturopath background. So I'm getting, blending everything, as well as continuing to eat, well. So all in all, I am very pleased with the results. I think on the weight loss side of things, if anyone is looking at losing weight on something like this program, I think it benefits people that are looking at losing, that 10 to even 50 pounds. That's not what I'm looking for. If I weighed 120 at my height, I would be unhealthy. And I've been there in my past in college when I wasn't having healthy habits, and I didn't look good. I didn't feel good. I believe that I am at the weight that I should be at. I think now that I'm going to be getting back into the exercise area and focusing on, the foods that Dr. Sarah has, listed out in this hormone reset diet, I think combining all that stuff is going to get me to, optimal health. The most challenging eliminations, I will say, is, like I was saying in the beginning, alcohol. Caffeine, in the sense of mental addiction. I don't have a physical addiction as far as I can tell. I don't get like a caffeine withdrawal headache. I have maybe 1 cup in the morning. I use a organic mushroom coffee. And, I love the cream. I have an organic cream, so the dairy in that sense was a little challenging, but not as challenging as I thought. So the coffee ritual, I was on teas, herbal teas, these 21 days. And it turns out it was the warmth that, I really liked. And I was okay with not having, that coffee in the morning. And I found actually a wonderful world of teas and all the flavors and, combinations. And my ritual was, definitely saved by just turning to a different type of warmth. And, dairy wise, I thought the cheese and the cream in my coffee would be hard. And that actually wasn't as hard as I thought either. Grains, there are things that I have seen, whether it has been, I want some brown rice with something, or, if, maybe a wrap, or tacos, the corn. Those have been some challenges where I sit there and I'm like, ugh, sometimes we just want a sandwich, or we want a piece of toast with avocado on it. And, the world of grains just isn't as good for us as we think. There are benefits, but there are a lot of negatives. And if you read Dr. Sarah's Hormone Reset Diet, my cover's off because it just started getting kind of, but if you read the Hormone Reset Diet, you will learn why and get a connection to why each type of food that she describes and each lifestyle choice, how it affects our hormones in a negative way, to where you can have a deeper connection instead of just being told to eliminate all these foods, and, do it all at once. She does it gradually, and explains why, where you're like, okay, these are kind of some serious like health concerns that could happen to me if I, eat too much of this food, or, um, do this for too long. So I think what I'm going to do, I've just started my re-entry. So I've done 3 days of caffeine, which one day I was kind of jittery and but I've been okay. I've only been doing a cup a day. My next round is grains, and then so forth. I'll be, adding some things back in to see how I feel. One elimination that I don't think I'll be bringing back in is sugar. Yes, a cupcake every once in, if I'm at a birthday party, but on a daily basis, sugar is just something that I don't think anyone should be bringing into their life. It's just everywhere. It's frustrating, and sugar just doesn't do anything, beneficial for us and our children. And another interesting thing that I found is that I don't know how much I'll be drinking alcohol anymore, because when I did have it, I slept horribly, and I realized that I just don't sleep. I'll be up till 3 in the morning wired off of one glass of wine. And I sit there, the next morning, like, why do I even bother? So I learned through different, scenarios throughout the 21 days when there was drinking involved, that I was actually okay. And I liked going home and getting a good night's sleep and waking up with Brooklyn and, not feeling foggy. And because, a hangover at 40 is not fun. And especially when you have a 3.5-year-old. So do I recommend the hormone reset diet? Would I tell my clients to do this? I would. I think it's very important for us to realize the impact that hormones have on our health, what they control, how they make us feel, and the connection that they all have together to make our body work as well as it can. I think women need to also realize that our bodies are different than men. Our bodies are each different, and we need to really pay attention to our bodies. And I like how Dr. Sarah really stresses that, of paying attention and being aware and being mindful of everything you eat, enjoying the food that you eat, taking your time with eating it, and paying attention to how you feel within that hour or two after, eating it. So I think it's realistic. It does take dedication, and you have to have your why and your passion behind it. So really take time to figure out if this is something that you want to do. Another thing that I do recommend, which I did, is getting a full hormonal panel done. Finding someone that will do it. My chiropractor, who also has a naturopath background, did that for me. My doctor, my general practitioner, said when I told her, I had a low libido, I had no energy in the afternoon, I actually had carpal tunnel symptoms coming on, I was very dry in certain areas. She felt that just a general blood work was fine, and she did not want to do the full hormonal panel when I requested it. So if you are told that that's not an option, don't stop there. There are people that will do it. It's a simple blood test, sometimes salivary for cortisol. So definitely be your own health advocate and find someone that will. If you are in, my area in the western suburbs of Chicago, I do have, someone, a couple people that, would do that for you and help you and sit down with you and talk to you about why the results are, what they are. So what I'm going to be doing, in October then is going back to her, and her name's Dr. Katie Johnson in St. Charles, as well as Downers Grove, Illinois. And she is going to retest me to see where my levels are at, because there were some things that she was a little concerned about, and some aha moments, like my testosterone level was low, and it's like, oh, that's why I don't have a libido. As well as just some other things that she saw that explained why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And I wasn't, it wasn't just because my vitamin D or my B12, were low. And if anyone has any questions or wants to know more about the Hormone Reset diet, you can go to my new website, which will be up in a couple weeks. So mid-September. It's www.michellemansfieldhealth, all one word, .com. You can also you can check me out there. Subscribe to my newsletter that I send out weekly, and get to know me more, and keep an eye out for that new website where you will be able to discover all the things I offer women hormonally, energy wise, vibrancy wise, strength, and just being, in the best possible health, you can be in. As well as I help people with fertility and with their fertility and pregnancy, and making sure we are, a healthy temple and growing healthy babies and taking care of ourselves. So I hope you will comment on anything, below, and reach out to me if you have any questions. You can email me at Michelle at our first steps.com right now until my new email address gets updated. And I am just looking forward to doing another round of this. And she actually recommends you doing it a few times a year. It's kind of like its own little detox of your body and resetting everything, and forgiving yourself and allowing yourself to have a good time every once in a while, but also just making sure on a daily basis and your lifestyle is at its optimal, health hormonally. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for, listening and paying attention. And I just wish you all the best. Stay tuned for more.